said, God, what does she say now? And I said, no, there's nothing bad. Can you believe we're doing this? He's out there. He's sitting right there. When somebody wants a soda, they say, I want a Coke. When somebody wants to see a songwriter show, they say, I want to go to the Bluebird. Hi, I'm Josh Osborne, and this is Hook, Line, and Singer. I'm going to be talking about some hooks, some lines, and some singers from my career. All right, hook. Just like dust, we settle in this town on this broken merry-go-round. Oh yeah, one of my favorites. Merry-go-round. I wrote it with Shane McAnally and Kacey Musgraves. We actually got the hook for this song from Shane McAnally's mom. We were in Texas. Shane's from Texas, so is Kacey. We were going to do a writer's retreat there. And it was around 4th of July. Shane's mom was having a pool party. So we went to her house on our way to go to this writing retreat. And I was talking to his mom, who's this big character. And I said, Margaret, I noticed the house a couple houses down had a bunch of cars parked outside. Is it a party? Is it a business? What are they doing down there? She said, well, they're selling Mary Kay or Mary Jane or something. I don't know what they're doing in that house. And so, ding, the radar went off. And I said to Shane, I was like, I don't know if you heard what your mom just said. He said, God, what does she say now? And I said, no, there's nothing bad. She just said something awesome. We should try to write with Kacey. And so Shane and I took it to Kacey, and we thought it was kind of a funny, jokey song. Like it had all those ways to use the word Mary. And Kacey has a very artistic way of looking at things. And she said, I think it's a song about a broken small town. And I think it's a song about my small town and how I could feel in my small town. And so, yeah, that's how we got into that song. And so then so much of it, I'm from a small town in Kentucky. They're both from smaller towns in Texas. And we're all from the same small town, basically. So I think that's how that stuff came about and how we ended up landing on the hook that, luckily for us, we actually won a Grammy for that song. So it's definitely one of my favorites. Line. Oh, I'm Mark Twain on the Mississippi. I'm Hemingway with a shot of whiskey. I'm a TV dinner on a tray trying to figure out the wheel of fortune. John Cougar, John Deere, John 3:16. Yeah. That's another song with Shane McAnally and Ross Copperman. And a lot of times with these songs, speaking of hook, line, and singer, we usually have a hook. We have something we start with. We had nothing on this song. Ross had a piece of music. Shane and I loved it. We heard the music. We already felt something just from the music. So our job became, what words do we put in there to express the emotion we're feeling just from the music? And we just started listing all these American iconic images, these things that just reminded us of growing up. And so that's where the whole Mark Twain and the Mississippi and Hemingway and whiskey, like these words were just so, and the TV dinner and Wheel of Fortune, it was all just so American. And we did not have the hook for this song until the end. We had written for 3 hours on this song. We had verses, we had everything except the end of the chorus. And for a long time, we thought the song was just going to be called Never Grow Up, Never Get Old, like because we have that line in the chorus. And it just didn't feel right. Never felt like it landed. And so we were able to have all these lines with all this color. And we said, we just need one thread that ties it all together. And we stumbled onto the John Cougar, because I feel like as a joke, we said, we need something that covers everything, like John Cougar and John Deere. And I think it was Shane said, and John 3:16. And it was like, whoa, like I think that's it. And so then we had to sort of look back through the song, and somehow everything wrote to that idea because that line just covers everything. It covers rock and roll, it covers church, it covers growing up in the country. So it just sort of was like, I think God was smiling on us that day, if God listens to country music, which I'd like to think he does. But he was smiling on us that day because we really fell into the right hook for this kind of line. All right. Oh, singer Kenny Chesney. I have heard of him. Kenny has... it's hard to put a label on it. He's maybe meant the most to my career, of actually launching my career of any artist. I've been fortunate to work with with a lot of artists that I've sort of come up with and had success with. But Kenny was sort of the unattainable goal. He was um, the artist that you just thought, if I could get Kenny Chesney to record one of my songs, people would believe in me. And my first number one hit was a song with Kenny called "Come Over," and I've gone on to have. I'm ashamed to say I have lost track of the exact number, but I've had several hits with Kenny, and he is always, when I write a song, when I don't write with an artist, when I'm just getting together with a couple of other songwriters, he is still the first artist I think of. He is still the first artist I want to send the song to. He and I grew up in similar places, but different places. I grew up in Eastern Kentucky. He grew up in East Tennessee. When I had my first band, we would go over to East Tennessee to play, and he was already a legend in East Tennessee. Like, this was before he was a huge star. He was already a legend there. People loved Kenny Chesney. And so I've been following him, feels like most of my life. And I'm still blown away. He's actually become a friend. He's somebody that I talk to quite a bit and get the opportunity to write with. And still to this day, when I get a new song, he's the first artist I send it to. And doesn't always work, doesn't always catch, but when it does, it's been really, really special for me. I think it's like anything, any relationship. When you have that first blush, that first moment, he's intrigued by me because he's like, I don't know this guy, but I like this song. And I'm intrigued by him. It's like, oh my gosh, it's Kenny Chesney. And I remember he let me and Shane McAnally go in and sing on the cut of "Come Over." We're actually singing the harmonies on that cut because he liked our demo so much. And we didn't think he'd be there. So we were like, okay, this won't be bad. And we go there and he's there. And it was very nerve-wracking. We're standing out there in the studio singing, and he's just with, Buddy Cannon at the control booth going, I think you got a better one, buddy. I think there's a better one. And I'm just out there. And I remember at one point, like, they sent, my part was finished and Shane was coming in to sing. And we like passed in a hallway, they can't see us. And we like grab each other and we're like, can you believe we're doing this? He's out there. He's sitting right there. So, and then it goes from that to, you just get more comfortable. You just realize that, like, he gets more comfortable with you. You get more comfortable with him. I think any artist relationship is like that. And I think the relationships get better because you do get more, like, you're more able to say, I don't like this, or I think this could be better, or I wish it did this. And I think that, but it leads to, like, you take more chances. Songs like "Get Along" and things like that. When we wrote that song, Kenny was the only artist we wanted to record it, and he had just put out an album, so we sat on that song for almost a year, waiting for him to come back around because we knew he was the right guy for it, and we knew it would get a shot to be heard. So I think that stuff changes. If you don't have that relationship with him, you probably don't do those things. The thing with the Bluebird is, this is going to sound cliche, every moment I've had here is special. Every time I play a show here, there's something special that happens, because whether it's here or what I've experienced with the Bluebird at Sundance, the Bluebird somehow created a connection between the audience and the songwriter that's not naturally there. And in those moments, we as songwriters don't always get to feel that connection, but when I'm here, I do, because people are listening and people are paying attention. And I don't know if it's something as simple as just the Bluebird doing the shh, and that made everybody listen, but it changed the Bluebird changed how audiences hear songwriters. And if you're trying to describe to somebody what a songwriter round is, because sometimes I get hired to do a songwriter show. I don't play a lot of shows anymore, but every once in a while I get hired to do a show, to do, like, for a corporate show or something like that. And they describe it to people by saying, it's like going to the Bluebird. Like, it's become, and I've said this to Erika before, but it's become like the Coca-Cola of songwriter things. It's when somebody wants a soda, they say, I want a Coke. When somebody wants to see a songwriter show, they say, I want to go to the Bluebird. And it's just become that. And, like, I can't think of a time I've played here that I didn't have a special moment. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had songs where a song came out, maybe it was fairly new, I played it on around here, people reacted really big to it, and then you did think, okay, maybe there's something to this song. And I mean, I guess as we're talking about it, I'm thinking back, I had a song with Old Dominion called One Man Band that was like that. That that song sort of was catching some attention. Wasn't really intended to be a radio single, but it was just getting attention. And I did around here. It might have been with Trevor, who's in Old Dominion, and we played it just because it was like, yeah, this is a new one, and the crowd freaked out over it. And I do remember talking to Trevor, and I was like, man, that that song might have something. And Trevor's like, oh, we're playing it live, and it's getting that reaction too. He's like, it's got something. Something's happening with it. Well, thank you to City National Bank, first of all, for taking care of my money, and secondly, for sponsoring this with the Bluebird Cafe and giving me a chance to sort of look back at some cool hooks, lines, and singers from my career.